Ми вирішили докладніше обговорити.
To discuss what role China could play to help end Europe's debt crisis, we spoke to Asian analyst and former MEP Glyn Ford. I asked him if he thought Chinese financial aid was needed to rescue the Eurozone.
Врятувати проблемні економіки Єврозони.
China can play an important role in helping the European Union and its member states escaping from the current financial crisis. China has a very direct interest in this, of course, because China sells so much of its manufactured goods within the European Union. So it's in China's own interest that the European Union is still capable of actually purchasing those goods and its economy is strong. The problem is finding the mechanisms by which China can actually do this.
If Europe receives help from China, does it mean that Europe has to recognize market status of Chinese economy? That is the precondition for Beijing's membership of the WTO.
I suspect that there will be no preconditions like that. I think it will be very difficult for the European Union to, if you want, almost buy the help. But nevertheless, I think there's some hard thinking that needs to be done at the European level in terms of the EU relationship with China. Market economy status is a ridiculous thing at the moment. China's going to get it automatically in 2016. They're prepared to pay to get it earlier. And there's a whole series of demands that Europe has of China in terms of opening up the financial marketplace, opening up markets generally, intellectual property rights and the rest. Now, if they wait till 2016, Europe gets nothing. If they go early, they can actually have some demands on China that are actually going to help both economies.
This potential assistance, what would it mean for China itself?
Well, as I said, I mean, this is not just something, this is not China doing Europe a favor. It's China and Europe helping each other. Because without a strong European economy, then China finds that the market for many of its manufactured goods is going to disappear. So, you know, this is of mutual benefit, and both sides need to recognize that. And sometimes I think that the European Union doesn't quite realize that China is now its equal and no longer its inferior in terms of economy, in terms of, if you want, political influence in the world, and eventually, I think, in terms of security issues.
We will have a G20 summit at the beginning of November. What impact would possible Chinese help have on this summit?
Well, I mean, I think it's very clear that unless things change dramatically, and the evidence is they're not going to, one of the biggest problems facing the global economy is going to be if you want, the euro crisis. And that means that the summit inevitably is going to have some focus around the euro crisis. And if China is going to be participating, then if you want, the Europe-China relationship will be central to that G20 meeting in Cannes.
What is your personal opinion? Do you think that Chinese assistance is the best solution in this situation?
I mean, I don't think Chinese assistance on its own is going to solve our problem. But the fact that China participates in this could be of an enormous help in actually reassuring the markets that Europe is going to solve its problems and that they can rely on the future strength of the euro in the coming days, weeks, months and years.